Hi there guys, Sam here. Welcome back to another video where I'm going to go through the latest images of the new GT4 RS. So yeah, I'll get straight into the video really. So yes, really exciting video today because recently in the last sort of day or two, new images of sort of testing around the Nürburgring for the new Porsche GT4 RS. Really exciting car. There's not really been any developments on this car since I probably did my last video back on it from the link up there, which was the images from April. Now these ones are actually completely different. They have redesigned certain parts of the car. So I'm going to go through a little bit of that today and show through these images of what is a cracking car. So yeah, let's get straight into looking at some of these images to the right of me, shall we? So yes, as you can see from the first one, so sort of a front-on image of the car, looks great in sort of like a stealth black kind of colour. The one main aspect that I want to mention of this one that's different is the rear wing. Now this is completely different to the 718 GT4, which you may be familiar with, but it's also different to the previous images that we saw back in April. Now it's just a little bit further curved, a little bit more rake on it, obviously all designed to produce downforce and yeah, to help the car through the corners. You can also briefly see on the 20-inch wheels, they've got center locking wheel caps, which were not on the previous one as well, the previous images of the GT4 RS. And it's great to see this car still testing around because it does hopefully push through that they will be releasing this car. And at the moment, we're thinking it around, it's going to have the same 4-litre naturally aspirated engine as in the previous GT4, the 718. Despite being an RS, it's going to use the same engine, but it's going to up the power to around 444 brake horsepower. And I think that's going to be about right. That means it's not going to step on the toes of too many 911s, but it's going to still be a proper Cayman, mid-engine layout, rear-wheel drive, cracking car. Moving through to the side-on image here, and you can really take a look at those wheels, look really special. And the carbon ceramic brakes you can see as well, which is likely to be standard. Normally RS models have standard carbon ceramic brakes. You can just see on sort of the rear quarter window, it's got some types of air vents. Now, it's likely that this is actually going to be real and actually to do something. They're slightly different to the ones that we saw in the previous images, as in it sticks out a little bit further just on that rear quarter window, where the window would be. Now, if it is real, it's going to have to kind of redesign in the interior of the car, potentially around some sort of roll cage or whatever at the back, to actually be able to get into the engine, to obviously feed air to the engine. That's the point of it. And, all Caymans have got them down the side of the door anyway, but this is just like an extra added piece higher up. Potentially right by your ear as well, which should be quite cool. It should add to the sound. I always love it in cars when you hear sort of like the whooshing sound of the wind, and we're losing a little bit of that noise. Let's add that. It also looks really low. Maybe that's the compression going into this corner in the Nürburgring, but it really does. I think it looks great. I'm sure it looked great in other colours as well, not just black. Black tends to work well with the yellow brake calipers. See a lot more of that rear wing, which is really purposeful, really actually going to do something. That's what I like about Porsche. Yeah, it looks really good. It looks like a really cracking car that we're going to see here. Moving on to the image from the back, and now you can really see all the testing stuff that they've done. Hopefully you can see, if you look at the rear wing, you can see almost like some wires sort of around the rear wing, and something sort of just below where I guess the Cayman badge would be, or certainly the GT4 RS badge would be. Now, that is all going to be sort of tracking how the wind is flowing. You see it on Formula One cars during testing as well. They do mad things, and clearly that rear wing is a huge part of the car, and it's going to have to do something because it's certainly going to add weight to the car. So they want it to be as functional as possible and to actually, do something real. And that's probably why they've slightly redesigned the wing of this one. It's almost like a Senna-esque McLaren Senna type wing, but now it's slightly redesigned from what we saw before. You can just see a bit more of the quad. Well, I say quad, getting too used to my Golf R here. Dual exhaust pipes, and they look pretty snazzy. Hopefully they make a decent noise with all these restrictions that we have in Europe here. But yeah, really nice image captured there. The final image as well, just from the front of the car, you can see how low it's kind of sitting, and potentially even scraping on that sort of corner on the Nürburgring. I'm really looking forward to this car. I think Porsche always do a cracking job with their RS models. It's likely to have a PDK gearbox, Pretty much, well, every RS Porsche has had a PDK gearbox since about 2015, and I don't really see them changing that philosophy. Certainly, a manual gearbox is probably it's just, it gets to a realms where it's just too quick for a manual to really work. I think the purists will be disappointed if it doesn't have a manual gearbox, but I think if you want a real decent little driver's car, I still think it's going to be cracking. And if you're going to have an automatic gearbox, have the the PDK which Porsche produce, as it's an unbelievable box. Nothing really else to say too much about the exterior shots of the car, because yeah, the rest is similar to what we saw a few months ago, other than obviously the bits that I've mentioned. I like how on the bonnet, on the hood, you get those sort of like triangles, which again, functional or not, I still think they look really, really cool. I think they just add to the aggression of the car. Otherwise, it's just going to look like kind of like a normal Cayman, really. So there you go, some latest images of the GT4 RS. I'm so glad that we got to see some. I'm just going to play a video just to the right of me of that GT4 RS going around the Nürburgring. Now, and I'll leave a link in the description to that video. It looks great, doesn't it? Sound-wise, yeah, we're just going to have to hear it in person. I think you can never really tell, particularly on a wide open circuit like that. You just don't know. Now, I'm really happy that I've kind of seen more images of this car in the last couple of days. It just kind of shows that they're likely to kind of produce the car. I mean, if you take a look at it there, yeah, it's just exciting, isn't it? We need some cool little cars like this. It will be the cheapest RS Porsche that they make, which makes it more attainable for most of us, and that's what we want. Certainly on my top wish list at the moment of a car. Again, most of us are not professional racing drivers, so a car with slightly less power, it's mid-engine layout. I've driven GT4s plenty before on the track, and they're brilliant to drive. They really, really are. They really are. Yeah, it's the best car I've ever driven. So, I want to see more about this, hear more about this. Likely it will be limited numbers. Price-wise, we don't really know. I suspect, it will have to sit somewhere of sort of like a base price, 992, 911. So 90 to 95,000 pounds before options. But RS models tend to be well spec'd as well. Carbon ceramics are standard. They're normally about £5,000-6,000 anyway. Yeah, I think it's exciting. Don't know too much about the interior, but expect normal 718 GT4 affair, or just normal 718 Cayman affair. Other than that, the back of the car is going to be a little bit different with the way those vents kind of work on the rear quarter windows. Really interested to know your kind of thoughts on some of the extra bits on this car. And how it's going to route through and how that's going to affect a few things. But really promising stuff. Yeah, really looking forward to this car, and I hope you lot are too. And yeah, hopefully a good way to start your Sunday morning. Well, yeah, nice and sunny here in the UK. I hope it kind of stays that way. But yeah, plenty more content to come on the GT4 RS. I have been following it through. There hasn't really been much news on it in the last couple of months. So I'm really glad that this has kind of popped out and I've been able to share it with you guys on the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hopefully you're as excited as I am about this car coming out, and yeah, we'll have to hear more. Yeah, as soon as I know more, I'll let you guys know on the channel. But yeah, have a fantastic rest of your day. Please like, share and subscribe for more content around the GT4 RS. I also do VW type content and fast forward on the VW side, mainly on the new Mark 8 Golf R, if that's something that interests you. And yeah, you'll certainly get to see plenty more content. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers, guys.